Hi, I'm Jarrett. If you've got an old 401k sitting out there from a previous employer, you might be asking the question, what exactly do I do with this account? What should I do? Should I cash it out? Should I roll it over? Should I move it? There are 4 options I'm going to take you through today. Let's jump in. Option number 1. In most cases, you don't have to do anything. Very few employers will require you to move your account unless your balance is at a minimum or below a certain threshold. So in some cases, it does make sense for you to keep that 401k right there with that old employer. What would that be? Well, if you have left that employer, retired, severed, changed jobs on or after your attainment of age 55, you can actually take withdrawals from that old 401k prior to age 59 and a half without incurring a 10% premature distribution penalty. So for some people, it does make sense to leave that money in the old 401k. A con to leaving it in the old 401k might be withdrawal option limited. Some plans will only allow you to take a certain number of withdrawals per year. In some cases, 401k providers will require you to take all of the money out, or you can take none of the money out. So you have to understand your plan rules a little bit to determine if that makes the most sense for you. Option number 2, instead of leaving it in your old 401k, if you're the person who changed jobs, you could potentially roll that old 401k into your new 401k plan. Now, obvious pro to that would be consolidation. Instead of having 2 accounts, you would have 1 account. You've consolidated and you have less accounts to follow. Cons, maybe the new 401k's plan options aren't quite as good. Maybe their investment fees are higher. Maybe the options that they provide by way of investment selection aren't quite as good or aren't as efficient. So you have to consider selections between each plan. Another one that you have to consider is that you can defer your RMD. So think of it this way: if you're planning to work past age 72 and you leave your money in your old 401k, you're going to have to take a required minimum distribution from that previous employer account when you attain age 72. If you had moved that money from the old plan into the new 401k and you're still working on or after age 72, you can actually defer required minimum distributions and you won't have to take anything out of your account until you've severed or terminated your employment. Option 3, cash the thing in. You can take a full withdrawal of that old 401k. I wouldn't recommend it in many cases, because if you take a full distribution of the 401k, you're going to be taxed on 100% of the account unless you have after-tax dollars or Roth dollars inside that plan. Age comes a factor as well. If you take a distribution before age 55, or if you left or severed employment from that old 401k before you attained age 55, even if you are 57 at that point, you're going to be taxed, and you're also going to have that 10% premature distribution penalty. So in very many cases, I wouldn't suggest cashing it in. You're going to have some tax and some penalty nightmare on your hands potentially. Option 4, and this is one that the vast majority of people that I meet will likely do if it makes sense for them, is you can roll that old 401k into an IRA account. You take the dollars away from the employer-sponsored account, you set up your own self-directed IRA, and you roll the money in. It's a non-taxable transaction. If you have non-qualified or after-tax money in your plan, you can roll those dollars into a Roth IRA. And the pro here is that your investment options and the flexibility for how you can invest your dollars improves dramatically. Most times in a 401k, the list of choices that you can put your dollars into is limited. You're limited to mutual funds. Some plans have 20 options, some have 50, some have 10. When you move the money into an IRA, you can invest it in almost anything that you'd like. If you want to use CDs, direct stocks and equities, bonds, annuities, treasuries for that matter, your options explode. The pro of that is that you can develop a more comprehensive, a more diversified plan in some cases. A con to rolling it into an IRA, go back to that age 55, if you are planning on withdrawing money from that pool and you roll the money from an old 401k into an IRA, you are now under IRA rule and you will not be able to take a distribution from that account without a 10% premature distribution penalty until you attain age 59 and a half. So there's some cases where leaving it in the old 401k actually makes more sense, especially if you need or you're thinking you might need to take a withdrawal from that pool of money prior to getting to 59 and a half. In all four options, most importantly, before you do anything, speak to a financial professional, seek some guidance so that you understand exactly what your best option may be. One of the things that we help our clients do on a regular basis is understand the best thing to do with their old 401k. We'd be happy to chat with you and give you some guidance. Give us a call when you're ready to chat. Stay tuned for more content coming your way.